talk a little bit with Mike and Elizabeth before the movie begins. I want to have them come up here. Many people, as you know, have gone through this, but I want to just get a few words from them and find out what caused them to create this movie and what their experiences have been. So, Mike and Elizabeth, thank you for coming. The first thing I want to ask you is, really, what was your motivation behind this? Was there something?
Sorry, Jeff.
No, that's okay. But
so
really,
the question was, what got us into this? We've both been through divorce. We are a blended family. We have a lot of children. We are the Brady Bunch. We have 3 boys and 3 girls, and they range everywhere from 10 to 21. And having gone through divorce ourselves, we saw the system, but we had very different experiences. I got 50-50. It took 2 years simply because of unnecessary drama caused by attorneys, but I did get 50-50, and Mike did not have that experience. He had a very difficult time. He fared better than many dads, and we're from Ohio, by the way. He fared better than many dads in Ohio do, but it still wasn't enough, and so he's still fighting for that. So we started this film 3 years ago because we felt like people need to know what's happening. We own a production company, that's what we do. We primarily focus on commercial corporate work, but this was an opportunity that we saw as filmmakers to tell the story of what's happening.
Did you want to say anything, Mike, first?
She said it all for me.
Okay, yeah. So you said you're from Ohio, and if I remember correctly, you have a representative up there, Rod Creech, and he said that in Ohio, that I think it was 87% of the parents believe that after a divorce, that 50-50 should be the normal standard. And yet you have opponents to this. Tell us about who the opponents are. National Parents Organization, NPO, did poll Ohioans, they poll a lot of states, so I can't remember if we have one for Texas or not. But we do know that Ohio voters believe that children have a right to spend equal time with both parents. Our laws don't reflect that. So when we took that to our legislators, they actually all came on board initially. Last GA we had a Democrat and a Republican co-sponsor, and we had 59 additional co-sponsor. So it was very popular. Right out of the gate, we thought it was going to be smooth sailing. However, here we are 3 years later, and the biggest opponents are the Bar Association and the Judicial Conference. They are very vocal. They wrote their own bill in response to our bill. They are still shopping that bill around, and so they're undermining our effort simply because we are attorneys, and the judges and the attorneys know best, and so their efforts right now are use our bill, not theirs. So would it be fair to say then that strangers are telling you what's best for your children?
That is somewhat inaccurate. It's actually the enemies are telling us what they want us to do with our children. They're the people who are making gobs of money off of the family law industry, and they somehow have incredible say-so in the legislature, especially in Ohio, and I know, from what I've seen with you all posting here in Texas, is you guys have the same issue here, that the attorneys, the Bar Association, the judiciary want to hold on to that discretion and hold on to that power and keep the money rolling.
It was very interesting that you corrected me instead of saying strangers and used the words enemies. And we have an organization here in Texas called the Texas Family Law Foundation. This group lobbies for divorce attorneys. They lobby for the divorce attorneys. Why do divorce attorneys need lobbyists? Well, divorce attorneys make their money off of conflict in divorce. And we actually have a family law attorney that's going to be on the panel who'll be able to discuss that a little bit. So I find it interesting because this last session we had a person that was introduced by the chair of the Juvenile Justice and Family Issues Committee, and they called him an expert, and he was a lobbyist. And I think it's very important that we keep in mind that those people that hire lobbyists hire them to lobby on behalf of their financial interests. They will talk about the best interest of the child. It's completely undefined. Nobody knows what it means, except somehow our
The strangers, the enemies, the attorneys almost always know better than the parents. And within our Texas Family Code, the best interest of the child is mentioned over 140 times. Nowhere is it defined. It is something that is designed, it almost seems like it's designed to be a tool of conflict between parents. Have you found that to be the case?
Okay, you're gonna give it to me. Okay, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the arguments that we tend to get over and over is any legislation that tries to change the way things are currently, they immediately go to saying, well, it's about what's best for children. We care about the best interest of children. You only care about the best interest of parents.
Yeah, and the best interest of parents also is important because parenting is a sacred, a fundamental right. When the child was conceived, was the government in the bedroom with you? Was the divorce attorney in the bedroom with you? Was a family court judge in the bedroom with you? When your child was sick at night, when he was 1 year old or 2 years old, did they take care of the child? Did they change the diapers? And yet somehow they know better than you what is best for your children. So I guess really I just want to follow up with one other question here. You put this documentary together. And I've watched it at least 8 times, I think. It's been amazing. Thank you for all the work that you did. But what was your intent behind this film? Was it just to have an awareness thing, or did you have a broader intent with it?
Awareness is a big part of it. Again, when we started, we felt like that what was missing was an explanation to people who've never been through it, and hope for people who have. But really, we're hoping this is a springboard. So when you watch this, keep in mind this is an overarching picture, very high level. We're not getting into the weeds. There are so many issues regarding family courts that we didn't go really deep into, and that was on purpose. We are just trying to establish that children need their parents. And so we're hoping this is a springboard. So Q&As with professionals and experts, that's what we're hoping comes from this. So we want this to be a tool for you, anyone, to use to push forward family values.
So when you say you want this to be a tool, do people purchase this tool from you, or how are they going to be able to get this? Because my understanding is you want this shown everywhere. So how do they get it?
The whole idea is just to get eyeballs on the issue. And this tool is it's not a gift to all of you, but it's something that we want to offer to you to tell your friends and family and your legislators that, hey, this short movie really describes what the family law issue is. And again, it's very high level. We don't get into any tangents of child support or alienation or any of that stuff. But when I was going through all of this stuff, I always heard from people that would tell me, oh yeah, I have a friend who did that, or oh, my sister is going through a divorce, or everybody knows somebody, or everybody has been through it. With the divorce rate we have, it's touching every life in this country. So to be able to connect that with a short film that people can just watch and get a better understanding of what the real issue is and who the players are and maybe how we can affect some real change. That's our impetus, and that's what we wanted to do. So starting in January, we're aiming for January 4th. We have a technical thing to figure out, but January 4th, as of right now, is the date that we will release this to the world for free on YouTube with no rights or reserved or anything. We just want to get it out there. We want people to watch it. We want the stories to be told. So we're glad that you're here tonight, and we hope that you watch it. Thank you.
One thing I also wanted to commend you about, many times people try to say, well, this is the man's issue. This is the woman's issue. But you captured, I think, very well. You had men, you had women. You had not just people of a certain race. You really showed a little bit through the 50 minutes that you had that this was an issue that basically affects everybody, all generations. You mentioned grandparents. As a grandparent, I was so thrilled to see that because some people say, well, you're just grandparents. You're not the parents. But grandparents are important to the children's lives as well. And I want to thank you for the work that you did. And once again, one more round of applause for them. Thank you for making this free for everybody as well. Mike and Elizabeth McNeese.